my god, do you know what's... Okay. Ah! How do I make like a genuinely excited scream? Ah! Oh! Do you know what's come out?
That is right, the tiny baby plushies. Look how adorable they are. There is a mango and there is an emotional support demon the other way around. They are so freaking cute. You can bring them as keychains. You can have them in your pockets, buy them together, make them do this, and smoochies. Everyone in life likes get them now. Link in the description below. They're available for only a couple of weeks, so if you miss out, they will be gone forever. Don't regret it for the rest of your mortal days. Anyway, good evening, laddies, lasses and lasses. Don't you just smell absolutely astounding today, if I may say so myself? And I do. Today we're going to do something absolutely dandy-finalicious. I have been digging through the holes of the internet and unearthing some very questionable materials, and we're going to look through it together. Welcome to r/Tumblr, baby. Mwah.
What a sales pitch.
Let's go. I'm also wearing a pineapple shirt, you know, because unlimited swag and all that kind of stuff. Oh, yeah. We should legalize polyamorous marriage for all the other reasons we should, but also because I want to see what polyamorous divorce looks like. Divorce lawyer! You see it's hooked together like this? Oh, that'd be kind of interesting, but unless you sign something ahead of time, wouldn't it just be split? Like even say you have 3 people, it just split 3 ways, everything. It's gonna be so complicated. I've seen families tear each other apart whenever there's like inheritance and the kids are fighting over it. This is gonna be the same thing, but no one has even died. It's gonna be so bad. Imagine trying to get like 5 people to agree on how to split a house. Oh no! New York police officer fires his .38 service revolver at almost point-blank range into a piece of bulletproof glass, with a very brave test subject behind it. 1931. Why do they have someone behind? You can test this glass without having someone's face behind it.
What experimental value does a whole living guy add to this?
Exactly! Cops don't shoot their guns if there's no potential for civilian harm. It's a motivator. Some freaking mouse labyrinth vibes on this one, fam. Edit PDFs in Firefox. Say goodbye to the hassle of trying to print or fill out your PDF in other programs. With Firefox, you can easily edit PDFs without switching to another app or program. Oh, poo, for real? That is so good. Speaking of good, today's sponsor, welcome I'm kidding. Maybe Firefox wants to sponsor a 4ARL video, if I ever make one. Maybe I never will. Firefox, if you want to sponsor 4ARL, I think it would sell well. It's a good symbiosis. Hit me up. Joe Biden is so oblivious to culture war BS, it makes him an ideal counter to the Saints. The Saints. We after death pill woke moralists. Joe Biden. What? Anyway, back in Scranton, we would make our own concrete out of tiny seashells.
It really did be like that, though. American politics, man. Sometimes I struggle to tell what is real, what is just satirical poop hosts. God, it would be really funny. I mean, it is really funny, but like in a dark, morbid way, because you know it's also reality. I miss the days when, no matter how slow your internet was, if you paused any video and let it buffer long enough, you could watch it uninterrupted. You know what I hate the most? When you have like poopy internet, when you're way out on the countryside or something, and you get stuck buffering on an ad. Like the whole thing breaks because it fails to load an ad. You're not even trying to buffer the video. It's like, wait a second, we need to buffer this 5-second click of these crackers we've been showing you for 5 weeks. God! Or is just one of those, like, poorly veiled adult-themed mobile games. Ooh, fun for the whole family. Undress your maidens and be a king today. Thank you, YouTube.
Bisexuality is actually rooted in racism, transphobia.
Like both at once? There's not even a comma.
I don't mean to be pushy, but maybe choose another label?
I guess I'll have to go back to being a regular old F-slur then. So it turns out, saying the F-slur in front of this person wasn't a very good idea. I wonder why. Not to be pushy, but super pushy statement here.
I don't mean to be pushy.
Then what are those sentences before and after that? I think this is the sequel to saying no offense after saying something offensive or rude. Yeah, it's the same thing as not to be racist, but insert really racist remark here. It doesn't just magically make it go away. Run up and smash someone's kneecaps. I meant no harm, so now it shouldn't hurt. How do you get bisexuality to mean something racist? You're just mix and matching buzzwords at this point.
point. Just let people be happy, God.
I once won first place in my university's poker AI competition. We had 2 hours to build the bot and first place was a new MacBook. I was a freshman and had no idea what I was doing. My algorithm was literally, if is my turn, go all in. I broke all the other bots who started folding every single time. Everyone else made AIs, but only OP was playing poker. That is actually really funny, because I imagine most of the AIs that were built by the other people had some kind of, variable roof that's like, if the calculated statistical risk is too high, then you automatically stop betting, right? They're probably relatively simple algorithms. You just count like, what's the odds of winning this round versus how much would you sacrifice if you win, right? It's just a risk versus reward thing. So if the risk is 100%, it will never choose to go through with it, if the algorithm is that simple. So this little line would automatically beat all of those like medium complexity algorithms, which is really funny. Kyle Hill made a video about how this is an actual serious problem in AI. An untrained Go player was able to defeat an AI that has been beaten Go champions. It's a problem with real-world human pros too, who sometimes are bewildered by complete amateurs. Why? Because the pros expect their rivals to follow theory and behave rationally. And someone who has no idea what they're doing will come up with the most bizarre moves that completely go against what they theoretically should do. Yeah, so trying to predict like a chess game or something like that. Yeah, if I go here, he can do this and this. Haha, surprise! You didn't expect me to take my own queen. Of course, a human will easily recognize when their opponent is an idiot and go on to win, but an AI usually will not, and thus they don't know what to do when the person doesn't behave as they should. Yeah, like the AI in this poker example. A human would realize that if the person is just trying to go all in every single time, after a couple of times you realize that this is just BS. But an AI who's strictly running on the same calculation every time, it's not gonna necessarily learn over time. I don't think these student AIs at least was so complex that they actually learn over time and analyze their opponents. It's just statistics. Basic math, square root of -1 doesn't exist. Advanced math, square root of -1 equals I. Basic physics, 3 states of matter. Advanced physics, 3, 4, 7 plus states of matter. Basic biology, 2 sexes, MF. Advanced biology, sex is not gender, MF, and we have some curves and stuff. No! My 2 genderinos! I like this version of this comic. States of matter, solid, liquid, gas, vapor, entering slippery slope, plasma, mental illness, Rydberg matter, Rydberg prolactis, quark gluten, God! Did I say quark gluten plasma? I did. Because I'm dyslexic, don't judge me. Or feel free to judge me, it's kind of entertaining.
Mad scientist ethics board that makes sure a project is sufficiently unethical before providing funding.
Sometimes you get a normal scientist trying to apply with a regular invention that just has a puppy shredder attached to it with hot glue or sticky tape. You would think they would be disqualified for that, but trying to cheat the system to get research funding actually adds a lot of unethical points. I like this because there's you always win, kind of. Even if you just try to lie your way through oh yeah, this invention is so unethical, you guys, and just BS. Oh, you're lying to an ethics board. That's not very ethical. Approved. This is way easier than IRL, isn't it? Can we just build a world where the supervillainous is the standard? Oh my god! I need to make this into a D&D adventure where the supervillain won last session or something took over the world, so everything is just supervillain logic. You have to go to the board to get funding. Prove your party is evil enough. This is gonna be so good. Tencent. Yeah, we're developing Face ID AI algorithms to identify people in protests and riots. Jesus, that sucks! Also, here is an AI art generator that can turn your selfies into anime. Oh, frick yeah, let me get in on that. Sniffling. You're all so stupid. The future is very dark.
I hate it when female is the only grammatically correct term for a woman in a sentence because I literally feel like an incel. My female manager is shorter than my manager who is a woman, but at what cost?
My girl boss.
Well, now I know it could be worse.
Excuse me, girl boss. I should start doing this. This would be amazing. Does that mean I can be man boss? If I had employers, I would have them call me man boss. That'd be amazing. Everyone just calls everyone boss. Hey yo, bro boss. What a good company vibe. Anonymous has posted, what slurs have you used? Every morning, I stand in front of my mirror and say all of them.
Alphabetically or chronologically?
How do you say slurs chronologically? Order of release date, obviously. Oh, babe, wake up. New slur just dropped. Oh, what a treat. I can't wait to see the Call of Duty lobbies tomorrow. Ooh. Ooh, this next post is probably going to be controversial. Let's get into it, shall we?
Men don't fall down the alt-right MRA pipeline because the left isn't doing good enough outreach. They choose to subscribe to a fascist ideology because they have an investment in maintaining their position in the social hierarchy, and the liberation of other groups threaten that.
I cannot stress enough how important it is to understand that 12-year-old white boys on Twitch are not being pulled into fascism because of some Machiavellian desire to preserve and expand their privilege. It's because the right talks to them and the left doesn't. No, they're right actually, and should say it. The left's descent into obsession with identity politics means all these boys from these spaces is essentially being told they're inherently monstrous or will grow up to be so. 12-year-old boys are not evil. They're children, and they're susceptible to manipulation from these fricks on the right who have sadly correctly identified that large swaths of the left will ignore and shun them. People turn to extremist factions when they feel ignored and dehumanized. I also think so much of extremism and odd opinions online comes from just when there's a gap from something. I see this with many stuff too. I see this regarding mental health, for example, where it's very easy to recognize that there's a gap in accessibility and knowledge and how much the public knows about it, which of course gives result that you have a lot of social media and people that go to these platforms mainly for attention and clout, but they also spread a lot of misinformation. So if that vacuum didn't exist in the first place, it wouldn't be as prevalent, but here we are. And that doesn't mean you should attack people that subscribe to it, because they're obviously looking for a solution. There are better ways to deal with it. And I feel like the young peeps on Twitch sort of fall in a similar category. It's a vacuum, doesn't mean that what they subscribe to is correct, but attacking them for it is not going to make them change their mind. A 12-year-old boy online isn't going to be able to read the nuances in your uber-ironic, but not really actually ironic, all white men are inherently trash hot takes. They're going to take that at face value because they're 12, and that's what 12-year-olds do. And they're going to feel angry, rejected, and judged by your words. And then fricks like Tate gets to swoop in and tell them you're wrong and start the ball rolling on that indoctrination. Yeah, it's easy to tell them that someone is being judgy towards them when that's what they have to go off on. It makes it a bit too easy for pee-pee poo-poo heads like that to just sweep in, doesn't it? If you're an adult leftist and you honestly think teenage boy possess the wherewithal to purposely follow dangerous misogynists like Tate in order to preserve their own privilege long term, then I'm sorry to say you're too far gone, and I would suggest logging off and actually trying to have a conversation with the kid who's vulnerable to the grooming of these uber misogynists and treat them as human beings instead of a reflection of an identity you've boxed them into. You may tick more diversity boxes, but you're still the adult. Start acting like it. One thing I have realized, especially during the past few years with the rise of a lot of these figures in the online spaces, is that the way they present themselves and the way they sell themselves is very much like what a 15-year-old boy in high school would think a successful player man is. It's not the kind of picture I think a lot of adults subscribe to, but probably a lot of teenagers that haven't yet figured themselves out. The world is kind of a mystery, and especially online where you have these algorithms and stuff that suck you into very specific opinions and rabbit holes really fast. So I think there's always a challenge that I've seen in the online world, but it's definitely gotten more prominent in the last few years, and I think especially for young people. If I'm allowed to add on to this, I can say with 100% certainty that being open and honest with a 12-year-old boy and allowing him to ask questions that may seem concerning to you absolutely works. My youngest sibling is 8 years younger than I am, so he was a preteen when I was in undergrad. He's firmly planted in Gen Z territory while I'm at the tail end of millennial, which isn't important except to say that his unlimited access to YouTube and Reddit was not something I really had when I grew up. My brother started to fall down the alt-right pipeline. He's confessed that his YouTube recommendations were mostly guys talking about Gamergate and how the feminists are feminazis and are actually evil. Side note, ever notice how the term feminazi has stopped being used since the rise of acceptability in Nazism again? Horrible to think about. Oh my god, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, that's true. I haven't really seen that being tossed around for like a good 4 years now. That is nuts. It could have been really scary, but he pulled himself out. The key here is that my brother trusted me enough to come to me and ask questions. I have been a very vocal feminist pretty much my whole life, and it's a long and glorious tradition in my family. And my mom is the one who taught me baby's first feminism. Because my brother trusted me and knew I would never discount his opinion for no reason, he asked me what my responses were to some of the videos he was seeing. He said, "I think there are some good points." And I watched the videos and talked to him about some of the rhetorical techniques and logical fallacies they used. Then I talked to him about why I'm a feminist and what that means. The dialogue changed everything. My brother is now starting his first year in college and is taking feminism and gender studies classes, just for fun. He is himself a vocal feminist and he's so damn proud of himself. I am proud of him too, and I'm honored that he trusted me enough to ask me what I thought. So please don't write off young men the way OP of the original tweet does, especially not the young men in your life. Be someone they trust to to ask questions. It's the front line of this battle. In the same vein, I really feel like people need to lay off the
"so they want a cookie medal for doing the bare minimum, for having basic decency"
rhetoric, because whatever ends up driving it, the actual effect is to drive people away at the door, to convince them that there's no point in trying because nothing they ever do will be good enough. Social response affects social behavior. If we want people to continue a certain line of behavior, then yes, it has to be encouraged. If you personally do not feel up to handling out said cookies, then maybe consider just not engaging at all. The uncharitable thought can stay on the inside maybe. Because if you're so determined to make sure they do not feel welcome here, I'm afraid that there's no lack of welcome to be found on the other end of the rabbit hole. The last post/comment, whatever they are called on Tumblr, is especially true. You never do that with kids. When a child behaves in a way you want them to behave, you have to explicitly reward him and encourage him more.
"Oh, you finally decided to study," or "you finally decided to come out of your room," etc.
And saying in a sarcastic tone will guarantee that the behavior is never repeated from the child. Edit, since there are too many replies, I just want to make it clear my statement was in no way an endorsement of the political views of the original post on Tumblr, which started the discussion. It's just that a child psychology part I wanted to share. And one important thing to recognize with this specifically is that I think that a lot of this rhetoric you see, especially in the online world, very much targets young people. You don't see a lot of like 40-year-olds that have a partner and kids in a house locked down and stuff subscribe to this ideology because they don't have a gap or that sort of question in their life that needs filling. It's for a young population that finds themselves confused, or maybe they're not established yet, or they're unhappy with something, and all of a sudden you have this easy answer right here, and you see all of these people being angry at you on the other side, and it's easy to see why people fall in. It doesn't make it right. I don't like it. I don't think most people that see it, especially on a channel like this, likes it. We can obviously see what's wrong with it, but it's also important to note why people fall for it, because if you choose to not acknowledge why people fall for it, you will never be able to fix it. And that is something I would like to see change in the overall discussion of it, because I believe that is the way forward.
Lol, I hate in today's era of absolutely zero nuance takes. A friend doesn't behave exactly as you wanted him to? Cut him off! A guy didn't text you back instantly because he has his own life? He is just giving you breadcrumbs. Doing something makes you uncomfortable? Don't do it anymore! Someone isn't instantly available for your disinterest. Just absolutist statements that often don't apply to the multi-layer situations of everyday life. Like stop. Literally just stop.
Not the butthole. Your boyfriend says he lied about spilling the milk because he was embarrassed, but that's actually gaslighting. Delete the gym, hit the lawyer, Facebook up.
Yeah, sometimes I see that on posts regarding relationships and stuff.
Oh, your partner came home 30 minutes late from work. They're obviously cheating, and they probably also eat puppies in secret. They're a monster.
All these gay girls are like, wow, I want a big lady to step on me. But where is the love for short girls stepping on you? Short girl intimidating you with her presence and body language alone until you fall over and she steps on you. Short girl taking down a girl who's much taller than her, making her submit. Where's the love for my shadow of the Colossus Bishop? Where's the love for girls like this?
Opie, this is a very hot concept and your post is valid. But did you have to explain this with a gift from penguins of Madagascar? Yes. Oh, yes, indeed. Nothing like spicing up everyday life like a bit of gay penguins. Every time someone goes,
well, this work depicts X, which seems kind of problematic.
And said depiction of X is specifically that it is a bad thing done by bad people, my blood pressure goes up a bit. Shout out to that one clickbait video from ages ago that argued that Beauty and the Beast promotes toxic masculinity because Gaston is a misogynist. Like, buddy, friend, pal. Hashtag, I will never understand how a story is supposed to explore the problem without, like, touching the problem. Problematic L. I remember the funniest instance of this I saw was regarding Rosa Parks and, you know, the bus story from the US when, you know, she didn't want to give up her seat and that kind of stuff back in segregation days. And I remember a school book with this that I saw side by side that got censored over time. So in the beginning it was like, oh, here's the context with like segregation, all that kind of stuff, and here's the reason why and how the story unfolded. And as generations went on with this book, it got censored to a point where it just said like, a man said to Rosa to get up from her seat. She didn't want to give up her seat. And it just... the whole thing sounded like just a Karen argument because the whole context was lost. It was like, what? You just made her sound like a Karen because you're too scared about talking about why and the problems that existed. No. So I ended up with free time at the end of my first class today. So I was like, do you all want to see a vintage meme? And turned on What Does the Fox Say? Expected like a laugh from the kids, or even just a, "What the frick is this, teacher?" Which is a reasonable reaction to "What does the fox say?" But instead of a reasonable reaction, all my students watched for the first 60 seconds with jaws agape. And then this one kid turns to me like the frickin' eye of Sauron and literally goes, "Furry!" My husband told me I also should share the next part of the story, where I, feebly trying to defend my honor against the child, said, "No, this video was big when I was in college." And he scoffed, rolled his eyes, and absolutely obliterated me by saying,
So did you go to furry college?
"I can't imagine what it's like to be called a furry. I don't know how I would deal with that, honestly. It sounds atrocious. God, I'm so glad I can't relate." By the way, reminder, pick up this. They're very cute. Link in description. Get them now while they're fresh and hot. That sounds weird.
Oh, you think that's bad? I had a student plagiarize my own fanfiction for a creative writing assignment. That was not a fun conversation to have.
I would simply quit my job. Yeah, just don't show up the next day, flee the country or something like that. Oh, maybe it's one of those like goody, like 2003 Harry Potter fanfics, you know, back in that era. Juicy. J.K. Rowling was disturbed by Tumblr culture. I have rarely seen a more validating sentence in my entire life. High fives all around, friends. If we accomplish nothing else today, we still have this. I feel the need to add this. J.K. Rowling says she was bullied off a Harry Potter forum she joined under a pseudonym. Author said she was told she was clearly an idiot who doesn't know anything. Like, not even mentioning about all the J.K. Rowling stuff and that thing. I just imagine what this would be like. Imagine myself joining my own Discord under an alias, and people just started poking me like, "I don't think you belong here. Your sense of humor is a bit too whack for this place." And I'm like, damn. When I was a freshman in college, I wanted to dress up for Halloween because I thought surely college students would have the spirit. So I elected to put on a whole entire Skull Kid from Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask cosplay together and wear that frickin' ensemble to college on Halloween. I step on campus and realize immediately that not one other person is dressed up. Not so much as a cat ear headband. So imagine this frickin' dude sitting in class of otherwise normally dressed people looking like this. This was me! This was my 9/11! Focus. I mean, if you just do it with enough dominance, that will be a story that is passed down in college generations. Dominance. Someone just emailed me a professional email that ended it,
We should just have snipped it in the butt earlier.
"Snipped it in the butt." Nipped it in the bud, correct. Nipped it in the butt, incorrect. Snipped it in the butt, incorrecterer. This linguistic problem is only going to continue getting worse until we f*** it in the ass now. It's like that good old famous tweet that's something like, "How do you spell it? Is it for frick's sake or for frick's sake?" It's for a professional email, so it has to be correct.
I had a roommate who was a blacksmith, and he kept a sword under his bed and just had knives laying around. One time he got cut by his sword and we had to take him to the ER, and he was so smug because the doctor was like,
"That was a really, really sharp knife. It cut so cleanly."
"Why is there a sword under your bed?"
"I'm a blacksmith, Teddy. I make the sharpest blades in this entire apartment complex. The sword keeps my mind sharp. You gotta live by the sword. Die by the It's a good thing you came when you did. Man, this is the cleanest case of dismemberment I have ever seen. Whatever cut you must be really sharp."
Oh, yes, indeed. Well, it looks like you can't quite handle my blacksmithing. Oh, I hope your wit is as sharp as your blades.
It is so freaking funny that nuclear waste is such a contentious topic. Like, yeah, those darn nuclear advocates need to figure out somewhere reasonable to put that nuclear waste. For now, we will be sticking with coal power because it puts its waste products safe and sound in our lungs, where they cannot hurt anybody. The air pollution fandom says some incredible poo.
Sorry, I realized I'm not done. Because, by the way, yes, carbon emissions are less harmful than nuclear waste, even in our lungs. I mean, yeah, if you gargle down some nuclear waste, inside of your lungs specifically, I think it's gonna be a bit bad. So, technically, they're correct, I guess. I hate these modern all-plastic playgrounds for kids. Safety, blah, 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 they're ugly. I know that children crave steel and iron.
Ooh, just back in the good old days, I remember when kid played with steel and concrete.
Putting a different country's flag on my lawn to make it harder for geoguessrs playing to guess where they are. lawn, United States. It's so nuts. I have watched like videos and streams from these guys that are really good at GeoGuessr, and it's absolutely bonkers. You can be on a street and they're like, okay, the fauna is like southern. You can see the lines in the street is roughly 3 decimeters between these specific lines in the road, which is a standardization in Italy. Judging by this, it's probably Eastern Italy. That bam, yeah, correct. So, the frick? I mean, I think I am a baller at GeoGuessr when I happen to be lucky enough to find like a street sign and I vaguely recognize the language and I'm like, oh yeah, this is totally Spain, and then it's somewhere in South America, but you know, close enough. Forum, help. Hey guys, I'm experiencing this problem running my game. Same here, 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 same here. Thread closed. Huh, never mind. Fixed it. Hey, I got this same problem. Can you tell me how you managed to make it work? Sure, I PM'd you the fix. Last reply, August 3rd, 2002.
I hate that.
God, I hate that so much.
The people who wrote this thread are probably dead by now. Or they're like 50 and have a bunch of kids. God.
Everything in moderation, except for animated women who are slightly unhinged.
I would argue that Azula and Jinx are a bit more than slightly unhinged. Would even go so far as to say they are no longer connected to the door frame.
Completely de-hinged.
Skeleton of a cave bear in Bear's Cave, Romania.
I wonder why it's called that.
This sent me down a massive historical rabbit hole, but long story short, it's called Romania because there were once Romans there.
But we were talking about the cave, though. God!
Fathers casually dropping the craziest lore of their lives in the middle of a conversation. My brother and I trying to piece together our dad's life based on random info he casually brings up once and never mentions again. Hey kids, did I tell you that one time we ran across the Mount Everest using only mountain bikes?
Dad, what are you talking about?
It was a nice summer of 1965.
What?
If you ever sit down and listen to some people of like the older generation, sometimes the stories they share from their childhoods are absolutely bonkers. Like if one of your friends of your current age now would have the same stories, you would just look at them like,
bro, what?
It's absolutely bonkers. There is one thing in Disney Mulan that irks me, the jawline. Mulan's jawline is drawn differently when she's acting as Ping. No kidding. This is her regular Fa Mulan face. In this version, her jaw is even highlighted by the makeup. Look how round it is. And this is her Ping jaw, square. Totally square. Why? Isn't consistency in the character base shapes like an important thing? Not to mention how she immediately regains her long lashes as soon as she's exposed. With her round jaw, obviously. Huh? That feel when your Asian and your father with a bad leg was about to send you off to surely die in war for your great empire. So you squared up both metaphorically and physically.
It's on the frickin' VHS cover! Oh my god, it's even on the cover!
This has bothered me since 1999. Why do you have to come for Milan like this? It's called contour, sweetie.
If the men find out we can shapeshift, they're going to tell the emperor.
Threads like this maybe question my sanity. Dear God.
It hasn't happened since 1936, but a reminder that if an NHL game goes to 6 overtime, they drop the second puck. Per rules, in the event of 7th overtime, which has never happened, 5 pucks are in play and a face-off is taken simultaneously at all 5 face-off circles, with each team playing 15 players plus goaltender at once. Rules for an 8th overtime, which again has never happened in the NHL, are sealed inside a red envelope which has not been opened since 1917. Give us the forbidden ice, boys rules.
That is so wild.
Like the people who wrote these rules are not even with us anymore. It's just like an ancient document. This is the same kind of vibe when they unearthed some ancient pyramid or something. But with NHL rules.
Guys, do you know that one meme where there's a girl and like a bodyguard ordering drinks and the waiter gives the wrong drink so they switched them on the last panel? Because I can't find it.
Here it is, ordering drinks, I'll get this, not swooparoo and all.
That is so wholesome! I freaking got it! Ah!
I love this. This is amazing. I love this meme. Thank you. Student confidently submits worst essay professor has ever graded. Students, you have no idea how high that bar is. Hashtag, I had a student who plagiarized from a yaoi hentai site. Hashtag, there is no going back from that one. Frick, dude. There's sure's not.
Wait a second, how does that work? With the tools you use, does he just send you to the website? You're just sitting there,
sipping your professor tea in the evening, correcting little reports.
He was like, Oh my god, what's this?
Man, out of all the ways to be introduced to absolute debauchery, this is a very unique way. Anonymous asked,
Can you please stop dunking on Elon? He's autistic. That's the reason he acts weird. You're bullying an autistic person.
is his special interest underpaying his employees, Lamau? Hyperfixating on exploiting children in cobalt mines?
Man, this is like the most chronically online stuff I've ever seen in my life.
And I've seen a lot of chronically online stuff because I'm also chronically here. Hi, nice to have you here. I hope you enjoy the video so far, you beautiful bean. My old man once said to me, "Oh, your thoughts are so random and unconnected. We were just talking about the carnival. How did you get started on wasps?" So I told him, they're not unconnected. We were talking about going to the carnival, and the carnival is in the same fairgrounds they used to for the rodeo. And one time at the rodeo, my brother spilled Sprite on himself and a bee went up his shirt and stung him. And bees die when they sting, but wasps don't. And I was wondering why, so I asked you. And he said, "That makes no sense. And for the life of me, I can't understand how anyone else thinks of anything is not by this exact process." But this is how it works. This is just how logic works, right? Right, this is how you connect. This is literally how conversations go. A guy at Disney. Sir, Stitch, a small logic-defying blue alien from outer friggin' space, needs a heterosexual romance. Disney CEO. Okay, but we gotta know she's female. Do you understand? She needs long antenna, like long hair, mascara, smooth chest that sticks out a little more because we need to be reminded that she's still got titties, even though she's a tiny frickin' alien. Guy at Disney. Should we make her pink, sir? Ricky! You goddamn genius! Here are my keys! Go to my house and frick my wife!
Look at that little... Oh, it's so good. Oh, yes, indeed. It's gendered.
Almost pointlessly so. What a treat.
Everything needs to have the boobas. Your bra strap is showing. Oh, I got so many. I thought this was me at first, and I am really confused. Huh, is it me? Oh my god, hi. We're multiplying. Oh my god.
Hey. The online world really does spew out a few nuggets from time to time, doesn't it? Algorithms are causing human language to reroute around them in real time. I am listening to this YouTuber say things like, "The bad guy unalived his minions," because words like kill are associated with demonetization. Academics trying to reconstruct what went wrong 1,000 years are gonna think demonetization is a variant of demonization, which is incorrect, but only technically. These words were invoked for ritual purposes. It was believed that certain words had the power to attract the wrath of a feared entity called the algorithm, whose assumed powers were as far-reaching as they were vague. Oh my god, it's really to be like that though. Oh my god, my whole vocabulary has changed since I started doing YouTube. It's like, I don't say shite anymore. I say poo. Even in real life, I started saying poo. What is this piece of poo? I even started... Some of it is funny, but my god, it's really noticeable, isn't it? You know, language is ever evolving and that kind of stuff, but it's wild to think that the fastest aspect of evolving language nowadays is like monetization on social media platforms. It's not even that wild of a concept when you think about it. It's just that you think about it and like, yeah. Yes, it's true. That's probably true. What car would you build a time machine out of? An old VW Beetle because it wouldn't look out of place literally anywhere. Lancelot. Egad, sire, look at that! King Arthur. Rare to see a VW Beetle this far north. Not impossible, mind.
God, it's so stupid. It's so stupid. This feels like a D&D adventure. Roll for deception. Yeah, little cast normal here on the north side of the castle walls. They come here to graze sometimes.
This is the age of sin. Reject the order of creation. Revel in the annihilation of man as the image of God. Destroy plot designs of death. Disfigure the face of man and woman. Look at that radioactive genders.
Yes, this is Catholic anti-trans propaganda, but it's also the lyrics to my new hardcore punk song. And that's the new symbol for gender nihilism. I think we should use the biohazard symbol instead of the radiation hazard one. Each cooler and more fitting. Good point. This is the age of sin. Reject the order of creation. There we go.
A vote for Bart is a vote for anarchy.
A vote for Bart is a vote for anarchy. It's literally that meme. Oh, it's so good. I have no idea what the initial posters were thinking, though. What does radioactivity have to do with, like, gender identities? Oh my god, everyone knows that World War III will be caused by genders. Oh, tomfoolery. It peaked around 1900s and it's peaking again. Tomfoolery at an all-time high. We are so freaking back, baby. My zoologist friend and I were comparing notes, and apparently we both cancelled dates and cut off contact with prospective romantic interest after they indicated a disdain for frogs.
Date each other? Just an idea?
Sadly, we are both gay in the wrong direction.
Oh, it's really...
So close, so close.
I am like a romanceable NPC. If you compliment me once per day for a week straight, you unlock the dialogue option to marry me.
Throw my favorite food at me 5 times and I will approach you and tell you I love you.
You don't even talk about it, just a random dude you pass on the road, chocolate. And then at the 5th time,
hi there, I have feelings for you. Very deep-rooted feelings. Kindly, marry me.
Yeah, I'm surprised you haven't gone to therapy since your dad died.
Oh my god, Spider-Man! Woo! A real-life moment between my boyfriend and I. Yeah, somehow that feels relatable, doesn't it? The Barbie movie is ending relationships left and right.
That which can be destroyed by the Barbie movie should be.
That's probably true. If your relationship breaks because you watch a pink movie about dolls and Kens,
yeah, it probably wouldn't last through the tribulations of life.
I'm just gonna be perfectly honest. Man, there are a few things in like the past time that I am just flabbergasted that people care so much about. Like the first one is the Barbie movie. I watched it, I liked it, it's funny, and people freak out about it. They're like, oh my god, can you imagine a cartoonish doll movie? It's like somewhat characteristic displays of reality. Wow. And the second thing was, what was it? It was the pronoun thing in Starfield. It's like, you can select your pronouns? Oh, they're just shoving all this down our throat.
It's one option in a character creation menu, and then you like never touch it again.
Do you not have anything else to think about?
No?
I can't believe Americans on TV really say rock, paper, scissors. Like, H, paper, scissors, rock. Do you IRL Americans actually say rock, paper, scissors? Or B, this with whether you say paper, scissors, rock or rock, paper, scissors? Me normally. Linguistic differences are so interesting and cool. I love hearing different dialectal variations. Me, reading paper, scissors, rock with my own 2 eyeballs. The Lord is testing me.
Oh yeah, what is in Swedish? Sten, sax, påse. So that would be rock, scissor, paper. Rock, scissor, paper, baby.
Who's rock, scissor, paper team? Let me know in the comments. Please be kind to each other. This is a very controversial and sensitive topic. DIY culture.
I made it myself for free.
Free. 3 hours, profanity in 4 languages, 1 smashed thumbs, and 3 milliliters of blood. And 50 pounds of materials you're pretending cost you nothing because you got them so long ago you moved house with them 4 times.
Wow, and here I thought call-out culture was dead.
It really do be like that though. I made this for free because I used paper that was in my closet, and it's so old that I consider the value gone. I bought this so long ago, I don't remember what it costed, so it's free.
The sexual tension between 2 gas stations on the same intersection.
I am so sick of this poo.
2 gas stations can't even be on the same block without some walnut shipping them, while I can't find a single fic for Dennis/Applebee's with Denny's bottoming. You are literally out of your mind if you think Denny's isn't the top.
I wish the 2012 apocalypse actually happened.
No, this is the important discourse. This is
Sometimes what I feel like when I log into Twitter and I read about what people are actually upset about today. It's like, damn. Unironically, this is what it feels like. It's amazing.
Boring people, the second they see something a little creative, silly, experimental, or even just a little confusing. What the frick did I just watch? What were they smoking? A lot of emojis. I compensate for a lack of personality with a crap load of crying emojis because the tears represent my personality melting away.
I'm kidding, it wasn't there to begin with. My mom loves to lie, and she swears she's never been homophobic or anything to me as a child.
I even have a gay work friend.
But a really funny memory resurfaced recently where I asked if I could use birthday money I had to buy a rainbow flag when I was like 7 because I loved rainbows. And she said, no, that means something evil and God will hate you. So what did I do? But ask my grandmom for a rainbow sweater for Christmas and proceeded to only wear that sweater for 3 years when it got cold because I didn't like the idea that God hated colors and I wanted to challenge him. Oh, nothing like a 7-year-old to challenge God. Good path choice in life. I appreciate it. And especially if you're old enough to remember it, that's a pretty silly thing to lie about from the parent. Although it does bring up a interesting point that we should really encourage people to change rather than just lie about their past, even though on the online world it's definitely easier in some ways because, dear God, things get taken out of context. But like the whole thing about, you know, our morals 40 years ago are not the same as they are today. And people who have lived long enough to see that also realize how fast media, public opinion, what is correct to joke about and what isn't, changes really quickly. And usually I would like to say it's for the better. So pretending that things cannot change for the better, I think is a bad idea. We shouldn't pretend that it's always been the way it is now, and we should encourage people to change rather than holding it over their head. Although in this case it's very silly because like, oh my God, I never said anything bad like this. Maybe talk about it is a better idea. Like literally be the adult in the room. Maybe it's the option. No language should be mocked other than French. Birds is weird in French. No letter is pronounced the way it should, and there are 7 of them. It's pronounced wazoo. And yes, I will die mad about it. Wazoo hits every vowel in the French alphabet and manages to only be pronounced with 2 goddamn syllables. Got vowels coming out of the wazoo. I remember that in French. Our French teacher back in school, I remember no French whatsoever. This is something I studied when I was like 12. But I remember my French teacher told me this anecdote that back in the olden days, like hundreds of years ago, there was this king in France who couldn't read or write, but he knew how to do basic counting. So he had other people write his speeches and documents and stuff for him, but he counted the letters and he paid them based on the amount of letters. So the writers just started squeezing in a bunch of like non-pronounced letters and stuff into these words, and that's why the words look like they do today. I'm not sure exactly how true this anecdote is, but it's very funny and it makes sense. Conversation that Tumblr is not ready for. A vampire's fangs are also its reproductive organs.
I scrolled past that before realizing OP was being literal and just not making some kind of weird joke. Oh, please!
The penetration of the vampire's bite as a metaphor for sexual naughties is like horny classic vampire symbolism 101. Yeah, I remember in Skyrim when you have like Serana being like,
should I turn you into a vampire, Dragonborn? This is a very intimate process. Just hold still and let me get in close.
And you're like, are we talking about the same thing here? It's a conversation Tumblr is thoroughly and uniquely prepared for, and one that we will all severely regret very shortly. Oh, I am ready to be a spectator for this conversation. I am ready. So when a vampire doesn't want to become a vaddie, they use a set of these, right? Sure! Oh, so that's what those are for. A vampire condom. I don't think I ever considered what condoms would be like if they were made out of hard plastic, but I guess here we are. I learned something new today. Wow, now I can mark this video as educational. Thank you. Honestly, what is it with STEM fields and turning every man who majors into one look like this? My father used to be a frat boy who went to parties and got drunk as hell, but every pic of him post-graduating in chemical engineering looks like this. What happened? STEM boyification is real, and it happened to me. Oh yeah, it's like the furry fandom, not that I know what that is, but how they have femboyification and this is STEMboyification. It has a different amount of fications in the world. So depending on how you want to look in the future, subscribe to a fandom. Furries or chemical engineering, oftentimes they overlap. TIL, that hard disks are so sensitive to vibration that just screaming at them diminishes their performance. Via reddit.com.
Getting screamed at diminishes my performance too. You ain't special.
Reblog, if getting screamed at diminishes your performance. Yeah, no, I can relate to the hard drives in this case. I can relate. Getting screamed at definitely does not enhance your performance. I have the biggest PP in 40 square miles. 39. 38. 37. Huh? Florida man evades police capture for 31 days by living inside a giant inflatable Lugia.
Oof, yeah, that's definitely a convicted felon in my...
Oh, yes, indeed. What on the internet made you cry today? Let me know in the comments below.
Hopefully not this video. Monoculture forests are deeply unsettling in a way that is hard to explain to people who do not spend a lot of time looking at forests. Look at this forest. The thing is alive in an undead hive mind kind of way and wants to frickin' kill me. Ooh, it's a good setting for a horror movie though. Yeah, it looks really wild. I think this one looks like a seeded forest though, because the spacing between the trees is exactly identical in all places. So this is probably somewhere where they cut down trees for wood and then replanted them like 30 years ago. But still, it looks really weird. Tutorial. Question, how do I make my photograph more Tumblr relatable? Simple. Filter, lowercase Helvetica. The Goblin Uprising is upon us. For extra points, add Japanese text. The Goblin Uprising is upon us. I'm taking notes. Wrong! You do this! Lazy-ass mountains can't even suck!
This site drifts further and further away from comprehensible humor every day.
Gone. Here's back to the regular old mountain.
It just goes full circle, doesn't it? And it's like you laugh at it, but you don't even know why. It's tickling your subconscious in some very sus ways. I learned that there's a Japanese beetle that when eaten by a frog will haul ass through its digestive system and escape out the back unscathed. It literally hauls ass through the ass. That's pretty admirable. You eat me, and I perfectly dodge all your digestive enzymes and stomach acid, and I sprint out your butthole fully intact.
It also sounds like a D&D skill.
Devour immunity. One tectonic plate approaching another. So, are you a top or a bottom? 2 tops, you get a mountain. 2 bottoms, a valley, bro. I don't know anything about geology.
They could still call the app Grinder.
Are you all of this stuff? I had to Google that, and I swear to frick, I will kill you. Blorben Schmorgendorben, coming tonight.
Oh, yes, indeed. I'm a little bit of a scientimatician.
The most erotic thing of all is knowledge. That sounds like something Hermes Mora in Skyrim would go on about in a slightly altered, slightly less safe for work version of Skyrim. Tentacles everywhere. Dragonborn, did you know the most arousing thing of all is knowledge? Well, laddies, lasses, and lasses, that surely is enough for this video. I do hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed having you here, you beautiful bean. And remember, check out the little plushie washies. Link in the description. They're very adorable. Limited time only. Get them now, you amazing bean. And I will see you again in the very near future. Take care. Mwah.